Welcome to Remelations. We're your hosts. I'm Mindy.
And I'm Brooke.
Remelations is a dream interpretation podcast where we read listeners' dreams. From nightmares to the just plain bizarre, join us as we give our comedic interpretation of your fucked up REM cycle. This week, we're reading dreams about grandmas, fender benders, and calling 911.
And TJ Maxx and escalators. And we're also talking about the history of the Ouija board.
Ooh, spooky.
Can't wait.
So let's get started.
Woo!
It's so funny. Mark goes, why does Brooke say woo every time? I'm like, I don't know, it's our thing now.
It just happened naturally, and now it's a
thing.
Now
it's a thing.
Oh, yeah, I put mascara on. I know you can't even tell that it's on, but me, myself, I
you
feel
look
a little
gorgeous.
bit better.
Cover girl. Strike a pose.
Easy, breezy, beautiful. Cover girl.
That's how we should start the thing.
I watched a lot of America's Next Top Model, and Cover Girl was always their sponsor for like 15 cycles.
Yeah.
But they had to do the commercial always at the end, and it was always like,
that's a big contract.
oh yeah.
Here we go. Hey, we're back for another episode.
Back again. Number 20, Mindy.
Oh my God, it's 20. Yes.
Hello. 20.
That's true. How did we get this far?
Wow, we've reached another level.
We're only 80 away from 100.
We'll get there.
And when we get to 100, there's confetti and champagne.
For everyone in the whole world.
She's got her fingers crossed, by the way.
I'll give it to as many people that I can afford to, and that's
which would
0.
be maybe 3.
Maybe you and me.
Maybe you buy the champagne, I'll buy the confetti, or either way it works fine for me.
I think I'd rather buy the confetti. I think that's a little cheaper.
Yeah, 20. That's insane. Like we started this in November, and here we are, and it's so much fun doing this every week.
We're almost legal to drink.
Damn, yeah, we gotta celebrate that one extra good.
Next episode, we're gonna have to get wasted because it's our 21st birthday.
Oh my God, that's too funny how you think of it. How your brain works just cracks me up.
It's not right. It's not right.
It's not right, but it's all right.
I'm not well.
Okay, well, we've got a couple listener dreams to get to tonight.
Yes. Do you want to start?
I'm going to start tonight because I've got a fun one.
Yay.
This dream comes to us from Grace, and she is from the Gulf Shores of Alabama.
Alabama.
Another Alabama. Okay, here we go. It starts with me, my parents, and my older sister are all in a car together. I knew we were running late as usual. We park at a courtyard of a high-rise condo. Think shops, restaurants, movie theaters, on ground floors with condos above.
Okay.
My oldest sister and I get out of the car to get my grandma to take her to an afternoon movie. In real life, my grandmother has passed away over 20 years ago.
Huh.
While getting out of the car, our dad, as usual, was yelling, "Hurry up, we gotta go," because there was somewhere we had to be that was important. So he's telling him to get a move on. Let's hurry up. Sounds like every dad I know.
I was going to say, that sounds like a dad.
Right?
Get a move on.
I remember growing up in a Catholic household, we'd go down to church. Like, the church was 5 minutes from our house. It's like
it's just
right
down the hill from you,
down
right?
the hill from us. And you could hear like the church bells telling you there's 10 minutes left till mass starts.
I didn't know church gave you like a 10-minute warning.
Yeah, there was a 10-minute warning bell.
I've never heard of that.
But this is very, very old Catholic church that was built in the 1800s, and it was played bells at noon, bells at 6, and then it gave you a warning before mass started. So
I've heard of, the bells and stuff at certain times, but not like
there was a warning bell. Yes.
Is it like when you're at a play or a musical and the lights start to flash and you got to get to your seat?
Ooh, yeah, exactly. Of course, I have 3 sisters and my mom. So my dad in a house with 5 women. He would try to get us all out in the morning to get to church, and he would sit in the car and just honk the horn like, "We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go." And we're like, "Okay, we're getting there as fast as we can." And there's one bathroom in our house for all these women.
Right.
Well, that was...
And how'd you all fit in a car?
I was the 80s. We probably just sat on laps. Like, buckle up. So dad's getting mad that they're not ready. Okay, so then she goes on to say, there was another car near us, which was surrounded by a couple of people. Most notably, my dad's longtime friend, Sean, who a few moments earlier had admitted to me they were just hanging out, eating gummies, and having a few drinks.
Pot gummies?
I'm guessing it's pot gummies.
Can I ask you a question? I know this sounds weird, but sometimes these weird things are important to me. Is this an SHAWN or an SEAN, Sean?
SEAN.
Pass.
Sean.
I'm very particular if it's a Sarah with an A or an H. John, JON.
Now you know.
I've got weird things, people.
Okay, well, this is a Sean, SEN.
I'm sure Sean's very nice.
So Sean and Dad were having gummies and drinks. Okay, so interesting. Okay,
invite me over.
There was also someone unrecognizable to me in my dream. Random person, rando, who had his head underneath the hood of the other car. My dad was in a hurry and backed out of his parking spot. Just as I had looked up, Dad bumped into this car. The hood slammed down on this random man's head.
Oh my God! Did it come off?
Oh no! Oh no! And I was one of the few people who had witnessed the whole situation. So I offered to call 911.
Okay, well that's
I'm guessing
smart.
that the gummies and the drinks had something to do with this bad driving.
It might.
Oh, yeah, not good.
Mystery solved.
Okay, so she offers to call 911. However, I couldn't, for the life of me, dial 911. I kept hitting 811, 991, 919.
Oh my
anything
God.
Other than 911. It was horrible.
That would be horrifying. Like, you're trying so hard. Oh my God. Could you imagine?
911. Yeah, no. I knew with every second that passed that this person under the hood was losing blood, losing consciousness, and he needed help. I just couldn't dial. I finally dialed 911, and it sounded like it was forwarded to someone's cell phone.
Oh my God. Isn't this like, didn't we have a dream before also where 911 like hung up on someone or didn't help them? Like, these are terrible dreams.
Oh, the worst, the worst. So then she says, a sassy young woman answered and simply snapped, hello.
Oh.
I said, yes, excuse me, is this 911? Right, you shouldn't have to ask that.
Me.
They should
May I
answer.
ask who's calling?
911, what's your emergency? No, hello. So she said, excuse me, is this 911? Her demeanor softened and she cleared her throat. Yes, yeah, this is 911.
Okay. It sounds like it could have just as easily been movie phone.
Right? I didn't believe her. I didn't believe she could help us, so I hung up. Then I continued to try to connect with 911, but again kept dialing the wrong number. Then I woke up. I woke up with no resolution, no one answering 911, and no idea what happened to the man beneath the hood. Help. What does this mean?
I was not expecting it to end that way. I thought there was more.
No.
Wow. Don't you hate those?
I hate those. Those are the worst where you're really trying to get something done and you can't. You're running, you're doing something, you just, whatever you're trying is not working. And
not have
it doesn't
resolution.
make sense.
Like, what happened to the guy?
Dead.
You know? Right? Like, he was still worried when, like, he's telling us now, like, I never found out what happened to the guy.
Never found out.
Obviously, she's concerned about this person and it still sticks with her today. So
yeah,
maybe that person that her drunken high dad hit with a car was something more important than just a random stranger. Maybe she didn't realize it. Because why? Like, I would be concerned too if something like that happened and I'd be trying to do anything to help. But
I think there's two different types of people in this world when it comes to emergencies. There's the type of people that run to help, and then there's the people that are like, oh, I can't deal with this.
Right.
What are you?
I got to admit, I'm kind of both, if that's possible, because I have helped, but there have been times, like, for instance, one time I was approached in my car. I just got in my car in the parking lot, and a girl knocks on my window, scared the shit out of me.
No.
And she was like, I'm not asking for money. And I'm like, I didn't roll my window down, but she was talking, and I'm like, okay, and luckily it was locked. But I just come out of the grocery store. This is a grocery store. It wasn't like sketchy or anything.
Where was this?
In Iowa City.
Okay.
And she's like, I need to go to the hospital. Will you take me to the hospital?
Oh my God.
And
what? This story. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I never heard this story before.
And so it's killing me because
you could be kidnapped or your car could be like hijacked.
Yeah, but like, it's like, I want to help. Like my instinct is to help, but you and I both have enough true crime savvy
You're like,
that I said,
I can call 911 for you.
I said, I'll give you $2 to get on the bus, but I don't feel and I was honest. I was like, but I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable letting you in my car and driving you. And she refused the $2. So something was definitely sketch there.
Weird. Did she seem like she was on something, or did you see any injury?
The thing that got me too is she lifted up her arm to show me she had a hospital bracelet on.
Oh. So when you were whoa, back up.
I know, it's weird.
You were at the hospital. And she was somewhere. She was somewhere. She was at a hospital or something.
She was at a hospital, but who knows? Was it that day? 3 weeks ago? Is she mental? Has she had it on for 6 months? Like my mind just went everywhere. Like totally. I saw it. I'm like, but first I was like, oh, she clearly needs to be at the hospital. She's been there. It confused me. And then I stopped and I was like, and then especially when she didn't take my money to offer her to the bus. Oh. I was like, then you really must not really need to get that. But I don't know if she was really in trouble, if she was, mentally ill or what. But
uncomfortable situation to be in. But
sorry, I guess I'm a little bit of both.
Yeah,
I feel like. What are you?
I don't like seeing people uncomfortable.
Oh, well, yeah, we know that.
I will help. Like, if I see... Oh, no, am I kidding? I will run from a situation.
Who am I kidding?
I would like... No, I'm serious. I would like to be that person that jumps in and helps people. I am not. I cannot. But let me tell you this other crazy story.
Yeah.
My husband and I, for the listeners that don't know, are wedding photographers. And so we do it together, and we shoot weddings together, and we've shot plenty of weddings. We were in
gorgeous, by the way.
Oh,
gorgeous. If you need someone in the Chicagoland area
or anywhere, we traveled the whole world.
Oh my God.
We were shooting this wedding, and it was a Greek Orthodox wedding. Mm-hmm. And those are very long, and they're very, it's like a Catholic ceremony. It's very long, and you stand up there and you don't move pretty much for an hour. And so the ceremony is happening. The bride and the groom are holding these. They have these long tapered candles that they have to hold and not move for a long time, like pretty much for the whole ceremony. And they just hold them like this.
Are they lit?
They're lit, yeah. They have their witnesses that are around them, much like, maid of honor, best man. And so what could be considered as the best man was standing next to the groom. Mark's on the groom's side taking photos of the ceremony. I'm on the bride's side. And all of a sudden, I look over and I see best man pass out, like just boom, down for the count. And that's only happened to us once.
I was going to say, as a wedding photographer, that's only time, because that happens quite frequently.
170 weddings in. Yeah, this is the only time we've had a pass out.
Wow.
Yeah, but just surprising.
Wow, I've seen it multiple times.
Really?
Just attending weddings.
No. Crazy.
Because it gets so hot.
The thing is, don't lock on your knees.
You're wearing either like heavy tuxes or heavy hot dresses, and well, I haven't seen it a bunch of times. I've seen it twice.
He's down. And so I'm at that juxtapose of, do I capture this moment as a documentary wedding photographer, or would it be rude for me to capture this moment? And within a split second, I'm like, fuck, I'm taking pictures.
Good. Yeah, I was really worried that you were going to say you didn't.
Oh, I took pictures. And I felt again, very uncomfortable with the situation.
But it was documenting something that happened. And then the bride and groom can choose if they want, if they were like, remember when that happened? Here's funny. Or maybe they choose not to have it.
Fast forward, the guy was fine. But the best part was, it's in the middle of the ceremony. And then the priest, whoever's up there, he goes, don't look, just keep going. Don't look, just keep going. He's saying this to the couple, and the poor couple's like looking over like, is everything okay? And like someone just like pulls them away from the altar, and everyone's like, just keep going, just keep going. And so like they can't even turn around. Like they're holding these candles. They have to be very poised. Ceremony ends. The best man wakes up. He's fine. All good. All good.
Okay.
During the ceremony, Mark and I don't talk very much because we're busy capturing things, and it's like sacred. So we kind of just capture it. Afterwards, I go to him. We get in the car, going to the reception. I go, Did you take pictures? Like what happened? And he goes, I caught the best man. No! I'm like, what? He's like, I'm the one who caught him, so so he didn't hit his head on the marble.
So he's like, yeah, I saw it.
He's like, I saw it. So Mark was the man. I'm like, I can't deal with this. Mark's the guy who runs in and like save this guy from smacking his skull on the marble.
Well, at least there's one of you.
At least, yeah, I mean.
So you're good as long as you're together.
As long as, I mean, I can walk away and whatever, take pictures, and he can save the world. But, so we get into the party bus, and we're talking to the bride and groom. It's all good now because we're laughing about it. And the bride looks at me, she goes, there's two types of people in this world. Mark's the people that just jumps in and helps people. And she's like, that was amazing. I was like, oh,
and then there's
amazing.
the people that
Thank
take pictures of it.
And then there's me, who's just taking
the assholes
pictures,
of the
like
world.
the asshole. Hey, that happened. So to get back to this dream, it starts off good. Like, we're going to a movie. It's interesting. I think that Grace dreamt of her grandmother, who is no longer with us. And if I think of grandmothers, obviously, like there's wisdom, there's patience. I mean, just thinking of my grandmother, there's a lot of good qualities if you think of a grandmother. Very kind, very loving.
Some
grandmothers.
My grandma was the best person in the whole world, so I agree with you.
Yes,
but I know there are some mean grandmas out there.
There are. Depending on how you grew up. I mean, grandmothers, like to me, I mean, just personal. Again, that's what dream interpretation is. You have to take it as how you grew up and how you relate to these symbols. But grandmother, warm, patience, wisdom. The question I do have for Grace here is, did you actually see your grandma? Because I know she talked about she was going to pick up her grandma. I would be curious to see if she actually saw her grandma in her dream.
Yeah.
So, like, did grandma have maybe something to tell you, or, would have something to say in that situation? But that part I don't know. Now let's go to Dad, who's being a little irresponsible here and taking some gummies.
Or maybe just being super cool.
Or being gummies and drinks sound like a really fun time, but maybe not to drive around.
Fine, like you said, like if you're just hanging out, but you don't really want to drive.
You don't want to drive and drink and drive. It's just, again, it's just like a good time, having fun, but it's like all of a sudden something turned tragic.
Mm-hmm.
This crowd around this car, and he sees his good friend, but it's almost like there was like a blind spot kind of in a way, right? Because he backs up into this car and hits it, and that's what causes the chain of events, which is bad. So is there something maybe in Grace's life that is like a blind spot? Is there something maybe that she needs to pay attention to, but she cannot quite see in a full way? You know what I mean? Like, almost like she has to take a step back from a situation.
Right.
And perhaps assess it from a larger point of view versus that she's going to back into having some gummies and some drinks.
Oh, God, that's funny.
Okay, so then we get to like the tragic accident, which there's blood, but like that, it's like very much a sense of urgency in this situation.
That's kind of also a blind spot, though, too, because she can't see what's happening to the guy.
She can't see the face at all. It's
like,
just like,
is he okay?
Good.
Is he dead? Is it like...
It's not good.
That's kind of like a mask in front of her, too. She can't really see what's actually happening to this guy.
Right. This rando. And...
This rando.
I'm calling them randos from now on.
I want a t-shirt now, too, that says rando.
Rando guy or rando gal. So, but Grace jumps in. She's trying to address the situation right away, but she's not finding the right means to do so. Like, she keeps trying to dial 911, but it's like 811, 918, 819.
It's like when you try so hard, but like you're nervous and like your fingers just aren't. It's like sometimes when you text and you just keep hitting like the wrong letter and you keep going, but it's like she tried. She's
really
so hard.
trying so hard. By the way, why is 911 actually 911? Does anyone, do you know?
That's a good question, because I think every country has its own emergency, but I feel like the world knows what 911 is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know, like, if I were in Japan, I wouldn't know what to call.
It's probably not
I wouldn't know what to call in any other country. I just feel like the world knows a lot more about us, and we're kind of like selfish people, and we're like, the world should know all our stuff, and they all should speak English. Right. And like, we don't really ever take the time to learn that about other cultures. But
for our foreign listeners out there, our listeners that are in the States, please let us know, like, what's your emergency number? We're curious. We don't know how it works in other countries.
We're starting a phone tree.
Practice is canceled. Can you call Kathy? Kathy, you have to call Dan. Dan, you're taking care of Melissa and George. Can you also see who's bringing the chicken dip for the kids on Thursday? So
I'm sorry, you're cracking me up.
So moving along, overall, if I think of this dream, it starts off happy, but it's interrupted by like a situation. So is there a situation in Grace's life that maybe she hasn't been paying attention to, like that blind spot, like something that's kind of been there, but she's kind of been like not paying attention to? Like, I know it's there, but I'm not going to give it attention.
I think so, because she's dreaming this. It's like, always kind of like a stress element. So maybe she's going to pay more attention now to different things.
Yeah. And with that, like calling the 911, I really feel like it's like her subconscious like screaming at her, like, you need to pay attention to the situation.
It's literally like 911.
Help.
Help, like literally.
Pay attention. Like, what's going on here? And so like addressing this issue will help her get to the next step of it, So like she needs to address it. But then going back to the grandmother, is there maybe a certain trait of your grandmother that could help you through this situation? Like this thing that you've been putting off. I feel like it's something she's putting off.
I feel like grandma is the comfort.
I think grandma's the comfort.
Yeah.
And so like what would grandma in this situation, what would grandma say? Think of your grandmother. How would she address the situation you're trying not to address?
WWGS. What would grandma say?
What would grandma say? Grandma would say, dial 911 correctly. Damn it.
Dial 911 correctly and quickly, you idiot.
I'm sure. No.
Just kidding.
So I think, maybe lean into how you think your grandma would address the situation. Maybe that's why she was a part of your dream, considering that she had passed away so many years ago.
So I think you're right. I think she is kind of grasping for help. And maybe, like you said, her grandma is a sense of comfort and maybe wisdom. And that maybe like you said, it's just a sign. Like she can't talk to her grandma, but maybe it's a sign that, she needs to address things. And her grandma's kind of telling her that.
Yeah. So whatever you got going on there, Grace, it's time to step up, time to address that situation. But I really feel like from there, it's going to be good from then on out. Take the initiative, address it, and you'll be good.
Get it, girl. You'll be just fine.
Thanks, Grace, for submitting that to the show. We appreciate
Thank you, Grace.
Your dream.
We always appreciate when people share dreams, and we want to hear from everybody, whether you have a dream or a dream story.
Oh, or if they have a 911 story.
Or a 911 dream story.
Do you ever remember that show, Rescue 911?
Of course.
Like, it was like that and like Unsolved Mysteries was like, oh, give me those all night long.
Every night, all night. And do you watch 911 Now on Fox?
No.
It's so good.
Same thing? Like same concept of a show?
No. This is This is a drama. It's a TV drama, but it's just called 911, but it's a Ryan Murphy. So it's got a lot of it's good writing, good music, it's got Angela Bassett. It's so good. The writing is so good, the acting's so good, the stories are so good.
Why don't we have like that old school Rescue 911 show where they used to play like those tapes? Like did the story of
Mandy.
What?
They're there.
They're there. They still
there.
Okay.
There are crime shows I've watched in the past where they like play, and I'm not talking about like Rescue 911, but like I can't remember the names. It's all in like Investigation Discovery.
Yeah.
Where it will like play the actual 911 tape, and then they'll kind of like piece it together, like what's happening, and they'll kind of recreate it, like lots of different ones. But I always feel like when you hear the actual footage, it's so impactful because these are like people in real distress. It's got to be heartbreaking and stressful every second of your day because shit's happening to people all day, every day.
Thank you to our 911 operators out there. I mean, you guys have quite the job that you have to take this. I would die in this job.
They're the first responders.
They are. They're taking like the most stressful calls. So if you have 911 dreams, we would love to hear them.
Yes, or 911 story or anything, any dream you have, any dream stories. We love to hear it all. Just go email your dreams or your dream stories to remelations@gmail.com, and we might be talking about you next week.
So, Brooke, do you have a dream for us today?
I do, and we've got a boy again.
Ooh.
I love bringing boys into the bedroom. That sounded terrible. I didn't mean that. I meant
But you do.
party,
But you do mean that.
But, okay.
Either
Let's
way,
just be
we're
honest
here.
about it.
Let's go.
Okay, this is Joseph, and he's from Strawberry Point, but it's very short. I woke up and was late for work. I was living in Minneapolis, but still working at a TJ Maxx in Dubuque, Iowa. I accidentally went into the TJ Maxx in Minneapolis. And at first, I thought I was in the right place.
So
But
wait, I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Yeah, it's
So,
confusing already.
He thinks he's in Minneapolis, but he is not. He's in another town.
Well, he he works at the TJ Maxx in Dubuque, Iowa, but he's living in Minneapolis.
Okay.
I don't know how you do that accidentally, but that's okay. And at first, I thought I was in the right place, but I soon realized I wasn't. The store was 2 levels. There were escalators, but they only went up. I had to get downstairs, and I couldn't get down to the ground floor.
Oh, interesting.
When I was finally able to get down, I realized I wasn't in the right store. In fact, I was in the wrong store and the wrong city.
Can't get anywhere you want to go. That's like one of those ones that you're trying to get somewhere and you can't.
Again, that's kind of been a theme lately, hasn't it? Like but I think people dream about that struggle. Like you're trying to do something, but you just can't. And that's so scary and frustrating. I mean,
so there's a confusion of where he was or where he thought he was. And then
he was confused all around.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, okay, so like being late for work is bad enough.
Oh, that's the worst.
It really is.
It's
you're
so stressful.
Out. But then could you imagine realizing you're not in the right place? And in fact,
in the right town?
Not even in the right state?
Right.
So you're probably freaking out at this point. But from everything that he's talking about, it really kind of sounds like he's super stressed. He clearly has a lot on his plate, and he's probably got too much going on in his life that he just can't keep things straight. Is he in Dubuque? Is he in Minneapolis? Is he at TJ Maxx?
As long as you're at TJ Maxx, I'm fine with that.
I feel like he was going to win no matter what.
I'll take a TJ Maxx. I'll take a Marshalls. I'll take a Home Goods.
All of them. I almost don't feel bad for Joseph because it kind of sounds like, hey, you're going to miss work anyway because you're 6 hours away. You might as well stay and shop a little. I'm sure he has an employee discount or something.
Of course.
I think you kind of said it, the escalator part, it didn't go down. And I think, again, that's another sign of a stress or a struggle or an obstacle.
But because it only went up, though. So I would almost take it as like a positive dream.
See? And that's what I found interesting about it.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I said, I wrote this down just to tell you. I find it interesting that the escalator only goes up, which could mean moving up in the world or positive. Typically, you'd think the opposite of going down would mean a setback or obstacle, but he wants to go down. So it's like a reversal of what you'd expect. So this dream kind of like...
So is he second guessing maybe something, some sort of like promotion or change in his life that's positive?
That's what I was thinking because he clearly knows what he wants and where he needs to be, but he just can't get there. Mm-hmm. But he didn't stop trying. So he knows what he wants and where he needs to be. And he's going to fight to do it because he still tries. And he did get down to the bottom floor and he did get out of that situation. But he didn't give up. I think is the key. Like he find his
repelled from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. He did one of those base jumping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just
two
squirrel
stories usually I don't think is probably enough. So, I mean, I feel like it's kind of your standard stress dream, but despite the hassles and the confusion and the chaos, he's not giving up. He may be in the wrong place now. And like you said, it could be a job, a relationship, health, but he's aware of it. And he's willing to run down the escalator, which to me means he's willing to put in the time and the effort to kind of get to the right place, wherever, whoever, or whatever that might be.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Joseph, for sending that in.
Boys, keep them coming.
And hey, if you've got a discount to one of those stores, just let me know because I can
shoot it our way.
Appreciate that.
We can place an order online, and you can just give your discount code. We won't buy too much, I promise.
Hey, besties, if you're enjoying this show, we'd love your support, and the best way you can do that is by going to remelations.com/support. There are plenty of free ways to support the show, We also have our Patreon page where you can become a Slumber Party Squad member and you can join. And you know what? Our first 25 Patreons get a free t-shirt that is an original Besties t-shirt. There's only going to be 25 guys.
Wow. One of a kind.
And there's a few already taken. So you better sign up if you want one of those. Also, if you didn't know, we have a Facebook fan page. So if you want to connect with other fans of Remelations, you can go to Facebook and just search up Remelations Besties fan page and you'll find us. And you can connect with other people that love dreams and love talking about them and love the show. So check it out.
It's really great. It really is. And we can't thank our listeners enough for even coming up with that. So we hope you can all connect together.
That's the best part. It's like one big giant sleepover.
Woo, for everyone.
Oh, speaking
we
of
both put our hands up in the air at the same time.
That was funny. If like our listeners could see us, like we are both like praising hallelujah here for some reason.
I don't know why we just did it at the same time. It was really funny.
Speaking of sleepovers.
Yes.
So my youngest daughter has a birthday on May 13th. And this year, it'll actually be Friday the 13th on her 13th birthday.
Her golden birthday and a Friday the 13th?
Yes. Yes, it is.
That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard.
It's totally amazing. So she's thinking of having a sleepover with some friends and she's totally celebrating. Friday the 13th birthday as a golden birthday on Friday the 13th, I think deserves a special kind of birthday.
I think she must have been born under a special combination of signs. Moon, sun, stars, whatever. But she's awesome anyway, so clearly something amazing happened when she was born. And she's just living up to it. I mean, that's awesome.
So we're coming up with ideas for her birthday. We're like thinking of scary movies, you know, obviously black decorations and being like really cool. And then one of the things that I thought about, if we're thinking of sleepovers, what's one type of board, I would call it a board game that you did.
Are you talking about a Ouija board? I knew before you even said it.
Yes, I'm talking about
Because
Ouija
I was going to tell you, I'm like, I bet she's going to have a Ouija board at that party.
Yes.
Or a spirit board.
We're going to talk about Ouija boards tonight, Brooke.
I have mixed feelings on Ouija boards.
Do you want to hear the history of the Ouija board?
I do. I really do. But I'm also really scared that we used it as much as we did because it's really dangerous.
It is dangerous. And we have done plenty of sleepovers with Ouija boards and in your bedroom.
And seances.
And seances. Yeah.
Like,
they all kind of go hand in hand.
They do, but it's like you can open doors that you can't close.
Yes.
Sorry, again, I've been watching a lot of that Portal Cell show, so it's fresh in my mind. I'm like, I'm not fucking with demon shit. No,
you don't want demon shit. But there was plenty of time in high school where we turned off the lights, lit some sage, which your dad, for some reason, thought was marijuana. Okay, let's take a quick side story here. Side story.
This was a sleepover at my house.
And we decided to use a Ouija board and do a seance. We had crystals. We had a kit. We must have got it at like Spencer Gifts or something.
I can't believe we didn't like bring something forth or have something connect to us. We did a lot of shit that we didn't know a lot about. It was interesting.
We had crystals. We had the salt circle. I think we had a seance that we were burning the sage, and your dad bursts into the room. Full force, full gale.
Which he doesn't do. He's like not even that kind of person.
No, but that day he did. And he goes, "Are you smoking pot?" Or what did he say?
Yeah, are you guys smoking pot? Because we had this big like Ziploc bag of sage.
Of dried sage.
And we both looked at him and he knew us. Like, I think he was just doing the fatherly thing. Like, we didn't drink or do anything.
We did not drink. We did not do drugs. We were very good kids.
So, like, I think he was probably shocked more than anything. But I'm like, it's sage. I'm like, smell it.
Like, we don't even know what pot is. Like, what is it? It smells like this? We have no idea.
What is that? It never even crossed my mind. That's just something you see in movies. We were kind of like... We were kind of behind the times on the cool stuff. Like, we did just fine on our own. We had fun in high school. We didn't need anything. But I'm going to admit, most people our age knew about that shit. I just wasn't even thinking about it.
And we didn't. I think we were just a bit naive.
Yeah, not even thinking about it. But that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We didn't even think about needing substances to alter our minds. We were happy just as is.
So going back to the Ouija board, let me tell you a little bit about
Let's hear it.
So there's a couple things I researched about it. A couple of resources used. One was a Smithsonian Magazine, an article by Linda Rodriguez McRobbie. The other one was from Mental Floss by Aaron McCarthy, Wikipedia, of course, and the U.S. Patent Office.
Oh, wow. I'm interested to see where this is going.
If you don't know what a Ouija board is, let's explain it to our listeners.
Oh, okay.
It is a game board, I would say, like a game board that basically thin. It has all the alphabet letters on it in 2 semicircles. So it has the alphabet A through Z and then numbers 0 through 9.
And a yes, like, is it yes on the upper left and a no on the upper right, or
Correct.
vice versa? But there's a yes, a no, all the letters in the alphabet and all the numbers.
And it also has
0 to 9.
the word goodbye.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes. So you have this board, and you also have a little, what I would call, piece that you move around. Do you know what the name of that piece is?
A planchette?
Yes, you
Plaquette?
are correct. Oh, good job. You get the gold star of the day. I didn't know this until I did the research. It's a planchette,
Oh, okay.
yes. So it's a teardrop-shaped device that has a small window in it, and that you would place your fingers on, and you would cover the letters to reveal words.
You just gently touch it.
place your
And then
fingers
you
on.
ask questions, and then the spirit moves the planchette for you.
So what you would do, you would pose a question, and you would watch as the planchette moved from letter to letter, spelling out the answers on its own accord. So whatever spirit you're channeling. So the only difference between today's Ouija board and the original Ouija board is these days is made of plastic and cardboard, whereas the original was made out of wood, both the planchette and the board.
Yeah.
So let's talk about where it came from. In the 19th century, there was an obsession about spiritualism here in the U.S.
Oh, that's changed. Not.
A belief that the dead are able to communicate with the living. It started in Europe, and it came over to the U.S. in about 1848. It came like a big thing. And there was these 2 ladies called the Fox sisters.
I love them already.
Right?
I don't know why. You just said it, and I had a good feeling about them.
I love them too. I mean, they're probably besties.
Well, and Fox Mulder.
Good point. I see the full circle.
I wasn't even going there. That just came up now.
Love it. So the Fox sisters lived in upstate New York, and they claimed to receive messages from spirits who rapped on the walls to answer questions.
Ooh, like in Morse code or something?
Yeah, almost. So it was like channeling these spirits that were like making signs and communicating back to them.
But only audibly, right? Like
Audibly
they couldn't
at that point, yes.
they couldn't hear what they were wanting to say or
Yes,
anything.
it was
so
just
they
audibly
needed-
like they were interpreting their raps on the wall, I guess.
Right, like 1 knock for yes, 2 knocks for no, you know?
Yeah, isn't there a song about that? I had a crush on a guy in college that lived down below me, and we could hit the pipe, and I used to think of that
Twice
song.
on the pipe, but that means no.
He always answered no. He didn't.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I just didn't expect that answer. He always answered no.
Damn you, Josh!
God damn you, Josh.
Had the biggest crush on you, but you never reciprocated. Anyhow.
You missed out, Josh.
You missed
Sorry,
out.
buddy.
You missed out. So, in 1886, well after the Fox sisters, the spiritualists were making camps in Ohio, and they were talking about this thing called a talking board, which had letters and numbers which they could associate with messages from beyond the grave.
Right.
And so this guy called Charles Kenyard, Mr. Kenyard,
Mr. Kenyard.
who decided that he could kind of capitalize on this whole idea of talking boards.
There's always someone.
There's someone. He's like, I got an idea. I'm here. I've got an idea. So he grabbed 4 of the brightest minds of businessmen. And he's like, I have this idea. None of them were spiritualists. None of them had any idea about this talking board idea. But they were smart guys. And they're like, there's a niche here that we can get into. Do you call it niche or niche, by the way?
Depends. I would say both. I would say it's my niche.
I can go either way. Because I think
I can go either way too, though, because I just said that, but I'm
I've
like,
heard
it's
it both
my
ways.
niche. It's his niche. It's her niche. It's their niche.
Hey, to our UK followers over there, you guys over in Europe, do you call it niche or niche? Because I think niche is more American and niche might be more
we
European?
should look up. Let's see here.
Let's see what Brooke has to say on the situation.
I want the audio. Oh, here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Niche.
Okay, it says niche. Was that the Oxford English Dictionary?
It must be.
Because I think it goes both ways, depending on where you live.
And look, I mean, you can't even see it, but it does have two, like, pronunciations, like N-I, then capital C-H. So that would be niche. And then it's got N-E with the line over it,
Niche.
S-H, and that would be niche.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I think both are correct.
So,
I'm glad we clarified that.
tag us, post it, send us an email. What do you call it? Niche. Either way, these guys are smart, and they're like, it's 1890. We see that there's something we can tap into here.
Boy, were they right.
No shit. They were like way out of time in paranormal shit.
And it's still popular today.
So Mr. Kenyard from Baltimore goes, I've got a few friends. We're going to kind of make this group. We're going to come up with this idea. So he enlisted a few investors, one of which being Elijah Bond, a local attorney.
Ooh, James
You know,
Bond.
right? Mr. Bond. Mr. Elijah Bond. I mean, I take the Bonds anytime. Mr. Bond and Mr. Bowie. I mean, they had this whole group of guys. They were not
David
spiritualists.
Bowie? Just kidding.
I mean, I could see him being a spiritualist.
He probably was. I think he probably was.
R.I.P. David Bowie.
Yeah, R.I.P. for real.
All these guys decided to get together. They were to take advantage of this whole niche situation of spiritualism. Bond's sister-in-law, her name was Helen Peters, was supposedly a strong medium.
Okay.
And so they were trying to come up with a name for this idea they have of this talking board. Like, what is the name of this?
Right.
So they decided to do a seance to figure out the name.
Oh, boy. With
So
the Ouija board?
They had the Ouija board. They didn't know what to name it. It was a talking board at the time, right? And so they all sat down and they sat around the table and they asked the Ouija board, what should we name this product? And slowly they spelled out O-U-I-G-A. And then they asked the board, what does that mean? Because it's not a word, right? What does it mean? And the board replied, G-O-O-D-L-U-C-K.
Good luck.
Good luck. So the board supposedly, according to the grandchild of Helen Peters, reported that the board named itself
Good luck.
Ouija board.
Okay. And good luck.
Like, my name's
What, in what language? In, like, what dialect?
Ouija board. Good luck. That's the name.
And how did they know how to pronounce it? Because, I mean, what would you think?
We still don't know how to pronounce
O-U-I-J-A, right?
Ouija?
Like,
Ouija.
I get, because it's, like, French.
They also thought that too. It was like half French, half German. Like ja, yes. And I don't know what ja means in German. But they
Ja.
But they eventually determined that it was not where it was named from, and that it was from this actual seance that they conducted with the board itself.
It's so weird.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Elijah Bond, who was the attorney, decided to file for a patent. And this was in 1890. Here's a really interesting story. He gets to the patent office and they say, if you want a patent for this, you have to prove it works.
Oh. Okay.
Right. Bond took Miss Peters, which was his sister-in-law, to the patent office in Washington, D.C. And they go to the first clerk. And the clerk says, I don't want to be a laughing stock. I want to get the chief, but we don't want to we don't want to patent this thing if it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. He goes, okay, well, go get the chief. And if this Ouija board can spell out the chief's name, which they didn't know what his name was at the time, then we can prove it works. And she goes, okay.
Ooh, this is fascinating.
They go get the chief, and he comes into the room, and they sit there with the Ouija board. And they sit there, and magically, they spell out the name of the chief patent officer correctly.
Wow.
And so the chief clerk is visibly shaken, and he says, okay, you've gotten your patent.
That's awesome.
The best thing about this patent, so you can actually go look up this patent on the U.S. patent website. It doesn't say why it works. It just says it's a board with letters and numbers and yes and no and goodbye and a little planchette that will point to the letters. So the patent is on the actual board itself, not the fact that it works.
The accuracy, because I mean, it might not work for some people either that aren't open.
Yes. So let's skip forward a year until 1891. And this is when the first few advertisements started appearing in the newspapers at the time. And they called it Ouija. Ouija? Am I saying it right?
Ouija.
Ouija.
Ouija, right?
You spelled it correctly. The Ouija
Thank
board.
you.
Ouija.
You can say it Ouija or Ouija. Some people are very particular. You can just say spirit board or talking board.
Yes, talking board. So they got the patent. And then advertisements started appearing in all these newspapers. So things talking about the wonderful talking board, the Ouija board, was in the Pittsburgh toy and novelty shop, or a magical device that answered all questions, past, present, and future, right? Because that's the way you try to answer, right? More so the future than the past, but either way.
Most of the time.
It also was reported in another advertisement in the New Yorker newspaper saying it was a interesting and mysterious talking board. Do you want to guess how much this Ouija board cost in 1891?
5 cents.
$1.50.
Yikes! That's big time money.
Right? I mean,
what, did you look? What's the equivalent of that today?
I'm guessing like $1,000.
Oh, it's got to be way more than that.
I have no idea. Let's see. Brooke's going to look up. What is, with inflation, 1891, $1.50? I mean, this is not like a mass-produced thing. This is like a very specialized thing. So you have to understand it has to be expensive, I'm sure, at the time.
Okay, so in the year 2022...
It's like $4 million.
Wait a minute. Did I read this wrong? This says $46.34. That can't be right.
Oh, maybe it is.
Maybe. I mean, I thought it was going to be way more than that.
That's not bad.
That's an inflation rate of 3.76%.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be much more.
It's not like everyone could afford it. Anyhow, I think the most important part of a Ouija board was what the original instructions were on it.
Oh.
So here's the original Ouija board instructions. As written by Kennard, an employee of William Fuld. The Ouija is a great mystery, and we do not claim to give exact directions for its management. Neither do we claim at all times and under all circumstances it will work equally as well. But we do claim and guarantee that with reasonable patience and judgment, it will more than satisfy your greatest expectation.
That's a guarantee. Reasonably satisfy you.
I mean, isn't that the point of a Ouija? I mean, are you ever like if you're doing anything with the Ouija board, you're like, I'm reasonably satisfied.
Like, I want to create something where I can mass produce it and make millions of dollars and be like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
I know, right? Like this.
Go ahead, give it a shot.
Can you please come up with the next big idea, Brooke? And
I'll work on that tonight.
Please. I expect drafts on my desk by the morning.
Okay.
So it is like mass produced now, and it's gone through Milton
Bradley
Gaming, Milton Bradley, and now it's Hasbro that owns it, and they are in the talks of perhaps a movie that has to center around the Ouija board, which I would totally watch. But that is the history of the Ouija board.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Have you ever? I mean, I know you and I have, but have our listeners ever used a Ouija board? And if you did, let us know what the result was, or what
I'd like
happened
to know.
that day.
I would love to know. Because I've legit sat at it with people, not move at all. And then like one person replaces another person, and all of a sudden it's like a whole new thing. Like you have, it's just that energy of the people, like whether you believe or not or open enough, like it's so weird. It can be like just not move. Yes. And then you can just change one person out and that thing is flying all over the place.
But especially when you're 13 on your Friday the 13th birthday, it's going to be very exciting. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Wow. Keep us posted.
Wow. So that was fun. But let's go on to pod news real quick.
Ooh, tell me.
I want to shout out a couple of markets that tuned in this week. Atlanta,
Woo.
Columbus, Boston.
Nice.
Birmingham, Terre Haute, Indiana, and Tennessee Tri-Cities, and Buffalo.
Buffalo! Sorry, Chad's all into the Sabres, so I know all about Buffalo. That's a sports team.
Oh, the Sabres. Oh, good job.
Yes.
But internationally, shout outs to our friends in Belgium, the UK, Spain, Italy, Chile, and of course, Poland. Thank you for tuning in this week.
We've got so many cool people listening to us.
They're
I just
so
know
cool.
it.
I
So
love them.
cool.
Love them. And if you are also enjoying the show, please make sure you tell your bestie about this podcast. You can tell your bestie. You can tell someone that's stuck under a car hood. You can tell
A Ouija board.
Ooh, tell whoever you ever go tag the person you ever played Ouija with in the first place ever in your life, and then tag them and tell them to listen to this podcast.
Yes!
And tell your favorite TJ Maxx employee about this podcast.
And tell them you appreciate them. They're hard workers.
They're hard workers. Because that's the way we grow. If you tell your friends, that's how we grow. And we continue to do this episode every week, every Thursday for you guys.
We do it all for you. Thank you so much to Grace and Joseph for submitting your dreams. We had a lot of fun with them today.
And if you're going to dial 911, make sure you dial the right numbers. That would be helpful.
It's very easy. 911.
Perfect.
That's it.
Have you ever had to call 911?
That's so interesting. I'm trying to think. I feel like I would remember if I had, but at the same time, I feel like I have. Not for me personally. I've had 911 called for me when I had my seizures and stuff.
Oh,
but
yeah.
let me think about it for a minute, because I'm pretty sure I have had to, but it wasn't for anything of note, not like a huge.
Yeah, you weren't.
Yeah, but so nothing.
Someone
serious.
wasn't coming up to your car door asking for a ride.
I did not
the
call
hospital.
911.
Okay.
How about you?
I did when I was about 13. My grandma had fallen, and I was at her home, and I had to call 911 for her, which was completely tragic.
Oh, God,
I mean,
yeah.
it just was very scary type situation.
Yeah.
But recently, I had to call 911, and this is a weird story. My kids and I were out at our Target, which is maybe like a mile and a half from our house.
Okay.
And we're at Target, and all of a sudden, we had gone to leave. We go back to our car, and we look, and we're parked in a parking lot. So our car is facing another car. And we look in that car, and there's a little girl that's probably about the age of 2.5, maybe 3, sitting in the front seat and pretending
herself.
to drive the car, and there's no one else in the car. And so, I mean, I circled the car. Like, I took my car and I circled the car. Like, is there someone in the back? Like
maybe I'm not seeing everything. Yeah.
But even if there's someone in the backseat, she's like turning on the lights and turning off the lights, and she's like,
so there's keys in the ignition.
she is touching things in the car, and I'm like, it's not right. It's not right. And so I circled. And I'm like, no, there's no one in this car. Like, I'm like, maybe no. And so I did call. I had to call 911 because I was like, I was just concerned. Like, there's like this little girl who is less than 3. It's standing up in the front seat of this car. There's no one around, and whoever's maybe in Target, but it seems like a dangerous situation. And had I been like an awful predator, who is to say I can't just walk into that car and take that child? 1 second, that kid could be gone. 1 second,
Did
unattended.
The cops come?
So I called to talk to the dispatcher. She was saying when someone over, and like I like circled back around, but I didn't want to be like right there. And then like I came back, but then I think the whole situation by the time I got back was like had diffused. Like the car wasn't there, and so I don't even know if like the cop got there before like the parent came out. But yeah, that I just remember that.
It's a weird thing because you think of it so easy, 911, call 911, but like when something happens, you kind of freeze. Like if you're not doing something, just like if you don't do something every day, like say a task you do at work, but maybe you only use this spreadsheet once a month, and you're like, I wrote my notes, like, shit, how do I do this one again? And then like, but sometimes that just happens. Like you freeze and you're like, I know what to do, but like, everything happens so quickly sometimes. Yeah. So I did remember while you were talking, and this isn't exciting, but I did call 911 once at a job I had because this girl a coworker collapsed, but I don't think it counts because like everyone called because it was like in the office, like this small office, and like we all called like the people that because half of us were like 2 people were there when she fell, so they were there, and like I immediately like called, but they came and they took her away and they like cut open her shirt and do all kinds of stuff. Like I think she was okay, but like,
jeez.
Yeah.
Hey, besties out there, have you ever had to call 911? And if you did, what was it about? And that wraps up this week. Next week, I think we're reading one of my dreams and some more catnaps. So until then, sweet dreams, bitches.